morning, or quarter after 8 in the morning, and I got to go work in about 15 minutes or so. But somebody was asking me, I posted a video a long time ago, I barely remember what was in the video, but I probably had mentioned the term limb twist, and it seemed to have put the fear of God in this particular viewer. It's like, is my bow going to explode? Let me explain what limb twist is, and then what the effects is on your bow and stuff like that. And for the long story short, no, you don't have to worry about it too much. But yes, it can be a problem. When you draw your bow, now this bow here is a little bit worn out. It's an older 70s, 80s Dackel bow, and the string is completely worn out on this one. So anyway, when you draw back, okay, you pull straight back, but you might not realize it. You tend to torque to one side, usually the side you tend to do that, and that'll put a little bit of strain on the limbs. In itself, not a problem. Where the real problem with limb twist comes in, and what limb twist is, once you've strung your bow, you look straight down it like this, and you'll see that one limb will be kind of twisted, or both limbs will be kind of twisted to one biased side or another. And this one isn't too bad, but it clearly has limb twist. But the older the bow gets, it's a natural occurrence. It's going to happen to every recurve bow out there. But what makes it really bad is when people, when they're stringing it, if you don't use an actual stringer, a lot of people say, "Why use a stringer when I could just put my leg around it and do when you're pulling it, if you know how to wrap it around the inside of your leg." So that when people are stringing like this is where usually the worst part of limb twist comes, because they tend to, as they're pulling it forward to put the string on, that's when they tend to twist the limb even more. And then once you start it, that's when it keeps doing that. And then every time you pull back, if they leave it string for, like, say, they string it up and they just leave it, they never unstring it, over time it might work its way more to the point when you're pulling it back that your limb is starting to actually pull off center. And when you release, that vibration might actually at some point shatter the limb. Doesn't happen that often, but it can happen. So how do you avoid it? Well, number one, when you're done using your bow, unstring it. Best way, get a stringer. Don't use, you can use the round the leg technique. I've used it, on this one for a long time, but I don't care if this one goes. But my Fred Bear, for example, that bow, I really don't want to destroy that one. So again, the limb twist on this one isn't bad, but you can ever so slightly see it. Again, given the age of the bow, and it's probably sat strung up for probably a couple of decades, because I got this from a friend. But when you pull back, again, and leaving it stringed, you're going to get some limb twist. But if the limb twist gets bad enough, and you'll really, really notice it, that this will be curved to one side, kind of leaning to one side or the other, that's when you have to watch out for it. So if you want to string it after you're done shooting it, it's okay if you leave it strung for a couple of days, or a week or so. That's not going to hurt it. But we're talking like, year after year type of thing. It will do that. The other thing too is, like I say, the one that starts the limb twist is when you grab it and you put it around your leg to string it, and as you're pulling the limbs towards you, you tend to pull, you're not pulling the limb straight so much, like, let's say this is the limb, and you grab it, you pull it, you tend to put a little bit of a twist on it when you pull it, and then you start that twist in motion. So that's why you should use a stringer rather than, it doesn't mean your bow is going to explode on you or something like that, but bows have been destroyed because of limb twist. Not a massive problem if you just watch out for things. A lot of times, even when you get a slight limb twist, just relaxing the pressure on the bow, no miss, you can't go outside. Relaxing the pressure on the bow by taking the string off sometimes allows the bow to go back to its natural, where it was in the beginning. But if you let it get really bad, and a lot of times, again, it's from that, maybe I'll just put the camera low just so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. I don't have the best angle there, but so when you take your bow, and I'll do it with this one just for demonstration purposes. So when I go down, even when I'm stringing it, not stringing it, so I got it hooked around my leg the way it's supposed to. Now when I'm pulling, okay, and I'm taking the tension off, I'm not doing very much here, okay, and I'm trying to pull as straight as possible. But I'm not only pulling straight, I'm kind of, because I have it against my knee, I'm actually slowly starting that warp on the end of the limb. And again, you're not going to notice it the first few times you do it. A few hundred times after, you might start noticing it. But and if you have one that's really difficult, what tends to happen is the more you pull on it, the more of a up twist. It because you're doing it, it's so subtle that you don't realize you're doing it. That's why when you're using the stringer, you're pulling straight up and down on the limbs. There's no question about it. That's the best. So that's the thing about limb twist. So you know your bow isn't going to die on you right away, unless you've got if you really notice the limb twist, maybe you might want to take it to somebody who can actually fix them. You know, you might have to, you know, I don't know how they would fix them. It'd probably some sort of a steam bend they would have to do, but you know, is it past fixable? But a lot of times, just by leaving it unstrung, I know with my Fred Bear, I leave it unstrung pretty much all winter, and when I take it out in the summer, the first few times that I fling arrows out of it, or, you know, first couple of hundred arrows I fling out of it, seems like it's like a brand new bow again, just sitting in this position. So it seems like unstringing your bow is kind of the solution when you're done using it. I mean, again, if you leave it for a week, a month even, like during bear season or whatever, whenever I hunt, or deer season when I hunt with my bow, I've yet to get one with a recurve, but although I've come close, I haven't got one yet. But what I do, I usually leave it strung for the whole season, and it doesn't hurt the bow at all. Dropping the bow can do limb twist, that type of thing. But the limb twist is basically the end of your limbs here, starting to cant to one side or the other. And that's usually, again, brought on by people stringing it by hand because they're too cheap to buy an actual stringer that pulls straight up and down. You can even make a stringer. There's really nothing to them. So that's just my thing on limb twist. No, don't panic. Don't worry about it. And if you're really worried about it, like I say, unstring your bow whenever you're done. Make sure this string is done, but when you unstring it, make sure you don't unravel the string. And always make sure that you know the top and the bottom, where the top and bottom are. On this bow, I'm not worried about it because the string needs to be replaced. With all my other bow, all I do is I usually just unconnect the one end, and I just usually leave the string on like that, and then just kind of, wrap it around myself. Just so I'm not losing the string, that type of thing. But I just make sure that it doesn't unravel. Keep your string good and waxed. That's always a good thing. So limb twist, that's what I'm talking about. It's not a massive problem, but it has destroyed a few bows. Once the limb twist starts twisting, it will always twist in that direction. By alleviating the tension on it, it might correct itself a bit. But I mean, it's going to, again, when you're pulling back too, you're going to tend to torque the bow in a certain direction anyway. Probably, if you're right-handed like me, you're probably going to torque the limbs slightly to the left, because you're pulling into yourself. Even you might not realize, because again, it depends where if you're over here, so your limbs might actually, everybody's arm lengths are different. So again, not a major problem. But when it becomes really noticeable limb twist, then it might become a problem. So if you grab your bow and you say, I can't tell if it's twisted, you're not worried about it. Don't even worry about it. But limb twist can be a result of improper stringing and leaving it strung too long and just, natural wear and tear. So, if you get a bow, let's say you get 10 years out of a bow and you use it almost religiously every week, I mean, you got your money's worth, you know what I'm saying? So don't worry about it too much. But these things, I mean, this thing is from the 1970s, 1980s, and it wasn't really that well kept, I know, just from, it's, my friend that I got it from said, yeah, it's been probably strung sitting in the closet for about 20 years, so it hasn't been well taken care of, and no, this thing has still got lots of life left in it, even with that. So again, it's not something that you have to panic or worry about, but just something to be aware of, because it can be a problem. So it doesn't mean it will be a problem, it can be a problem. And if there's a slight twist in it, don't panic, that's normal. You're going to get, even a brand new bow is going to have a slight twist at some point. My Fred Bear one is pretty hard. I mean, you pretty much have to get a micrometer out there to notice it, but just so you know, that limb twist is a natural occurrence from wear and tear use of the bow. But what we're looking at is when you can really notice it by eye very easily. Basically trying to line up one to the other. This one has a slight twist to it. The other one has a slight twist to it. I'm not worried about it, particularly if you unstring it. It seems to correct itself a bit better. Not by much, Again, it'll always have a bit of a twist to it. Not a problem. It's only a problem if you let it get out of control. Best way to preserve the limbs of your bow is always to unstring it anyway. I guess I'm just repeating myself there now. So I thought I'd make that video just before I get going. I know somebody was kind of panicking about it. Do not panic about it. So hopefully I didn't scare anybody with the concept of limb twist. But just so you're aware of it. So anyway, I got to get ready to go to work. So there we go. If you like this kind of content, please consider making a donation to the channel. Thank you very, very much to everybody who has supporting the channel. And rate, subscribe, share, comment, like. Take advantage of the comments.
If you've had problems with limb twists and you had some solutions, maybe post them down below for others to read, that type of thing. I haven't had any major problems with it myself, so this bow had the worst limb twist of all the bows I've had, so and it's not been a problem, but it's something that I'm aware of. So just saying that. So all right, be true to yourself, be true to others, and as always, do the right thing. Have a great day.
G'day, hi, and welcome. Well, it's 8:30 in the morning, or quarter after 8 in the morning, and I got to go work in about 15 minutes or so. But somebody was asking me, I posted a video a long time ago, I barely remember what was in the video, but I probably had mentioned the term limb twist, and it seemed to have put the fear of God in this particular viewer. It's like, is my bow going to explode? Let me explain what limb twist is, and then what the effects is on your bow and stuff like that. And for the long story short, no, you don't have to worry about it too much. But yes, it can be a problem. When you draw your bow, now this bow here is a little bit worn out. It's an older 70s, 80s Dackel bow, and the string is completely worn out on this one. So anyway, when you draw back, okay, you pull straight back, but you might not realize it. You tend to torque to one side, usually beside you tend to do that, and that'll put a little bit of strain on the limbs. In itself, not a problem. Where the real problem with limb twist comes in, and what limb twist is, once you've strung your bow, you look straight down at like this, and you'll see that one limb will be kind of twisted, or both limbs will be kind of twisted to one biased side or another. And this one isn't too bad, but it clearly has limb twist. But the older the bow gets, it's a natural occurrence. It's going to happen to every recurve.